Hello, rags and riches among the audience. I am the one and only American Geordie in the fine flesh. We've got another episode showcasing the talent of America's premier armpit stain, Elon Musk. Now, first, let me do you a history lesson. Just a small one. It's unrelated, I promise. No correlations here. In 1933 Germany, there was a guy, a college dropout who came to power. Though at first, he was more like an accessory to the president, a chancellor, if you will. And with him came the Gestapo, which in 1944 brought about this thing called the Action Guitar, in which Social Democrats and trades unionists, liberals, communists, and the Bavarian People's Party members, along with members of the old center parties, were arrested in the name of Adolf Hitler. More of his key early acts include the Reichstag fire decree, which, among other things, served as the legal basis for punishing those who were not standing with the Nazis, and to suppress publications that would hurt their agenda. The Enabling Act, which gave him the power to subvert checks and balances and do what they wanted without getting permission from the rest of the government. And finally, the formation of the Reichstag, a new branch of government whose only role was to listen to Hitler talk and agree with everything he says. Sorry for wasting your time with some pointless history. I mean, totally unrelated, by a long shot. Now, let's get on with the episode, why don't we? In 2025, a college dropout came to power. Of course, he's only working with this guy we call a president. Not like he has any real power or anything. But he got Mr. Trump to give him his own personal government agency. And, oh, would you look at that? He's doing whatever he wants with it. The Department of Government Efficiency was given freedom under the guise of saving our country valuable moolah. And as I've mentioned before in this video, Trump used a special rule in order to subvert approval of Congress, a fundamental part of our checks and balances, to form the Doge. And even though, after a failed attempt on his life, Trump had this to say about political dissent.
Despite such a heinous attack, we unite this evening more determined than ever. I am more determined than ever, and so are you. So is everybody in this room. And we must not criminalize dissent or demonize political disagreement, which is what's been happening in our country lately at a level that nobody has ever seen before. In that spirit, the Democrat Party should immediately stop weaponizing the justice system and labeling their political opponent as an enemy of democracy.
He fired several prosecutors involved with charging those involved with the January 6th riot, even seeming to be looking to uncover the names of the FBI agents who probed about to find the radical criminals. Alrighty, Mr. Trump. Guess it's only cool when you do it, right? Sure. Speaking of probing, Musk has been sticking his head where it doesn't belong. Not like that. That's actually a lot closer to the truth. Jeez, the scriptwriter should be ashamed of their search history. This shit is disgusting. Back in September, Musk made this tweet demanding that the current FAA director Michael Whitaker resign. And as of January 20th, the day Trump took office, he did. Elon's hate towards the fellow dates back to 2023, when he tried to have SpaceX fined for safety violations. Elon accused him of regulatory overreach. I wonder what happened last time a billionaire ignored safety regulators.
At some point, safety just is pure waste.
Well, Elon did do one thing better than Stockton Rush. He wasn't aboard his flight.
All right, we have some breaking news. A SpaceX mishap, the latest Starship test flight ending with another explosion.
Regardless, the sudden power vacuum in the FAA seems to be directly correlated with the death of up to 74 innocent people so far. With a jet's mid-air collision with a Black Hawk helicopter over DC on January 29th, and a medical evacuation flight over Philadelphia on the 31st, with cause still to be determined. There has not been a fatal aircraft crash in the US since 2022. Michael Whitaker took power of the FAA in 2023, meaning under his leadership, the FAA did not have a fatal accident on US soil. and it seems he gets to keep that honorable title as he was pressured out of his position by a power-hungry man-child before such an incident could occur. Elon Musk has also set his eyes on the United States Agency for International Development. The USAID is responsible for foreign aid and development, which may be sinful for American dollars, but what is not okay is the methods in which this is being dealt with and by whom. Elon tried to gain access to classified documents only to be denied by chief security officers. Those officers who were doing their job were put on administrative leave, and then the classified documents were handed over to Musk's team. Now, nearly all employees of the USAID are on leave as the Trump administration is figuring out how to dismantle it. Doge has raided the Treasury as well, obtaining sensitive documents with relation to Social Security and Medicare. And as of writing the script on February 2nd, 2025, Doge is set to raid the Department of Labor in less than 24 hours. Friendly reminder that the Department of Labor works tirelessly to make sure workers are safe and that the few unions in this country that are actually capable of making things better for workers are able to defend those rights. The Department of Labor is the pillar that workers' rights are held up by. And with Arizona Representative Andy Biggs recently introducing his NOSHA Act, the act is due to abolish OSHA, one of the agencies that fall under the Department of Labor. There's a serious threat to 50 years of laws written in the blood of workers cutting corners and the employer's hunger for efficiency. In a press release from the first time Andy Biggs proposed a similar bill, he has this to say: OSHA's existence is yet another example of the federal government creating agencies to address issues that are more appropriately handled by state governments and private employers. And that is simply baffling that our politicians might honestly believe that. News from the future. They are temporarily blocked from accessing the DOL, thankfully, but a Department of Justice attorney who ruled in Musk's favor argued that Doge employees are authorized under the Privacy Act and that would not share data with anyone outside the agency, including other Doge employees, via ABC News. Which is a hilarious thing now, considering that Musk has doxed a certain judge's daughter. He quote-tweeted an article that contained evidence of Judge John McConnell's daughter's position and title at the Department of Education, as well as a tax document she filed. This is very dangerous information for the original poster to have, and even more so for Elon to repost. I encourage you to research the exploits of Scott Walker, the Wisconsin senator who, a while back, through a series of dirty deals intended to fund his campaign, had very briefly managed to re-legalize dangerous amounts of lead in products like paint. You really want to put workers' rights in the hands of politicians who can be bribed like this? One man with no integrity, and then every working-class American will be back where we were over 100 years ago. Indentured servants to megacorporations, mining coal.
Drill, baby, drill.
Earning fake cash. And that's only good at the company store and living in shacks provided by our employer. Who here remembers how that ended? Here's a hint. We're humans, not robots, and we have emotions, particularly this fun one called frustration. It's coals that burn slowly, compounding with each other until we join hands and amass this grand conflagration. It is inevitable. Just remember, you can disable tear gas with a water bottle. Regulatory bodies such as our government agencies exist to prevent politicians from making blunders inspired by greed and bribery, dismantling them as a cheap grab at more revenue when our politicians are so overpaid that they get a goddamn stipend to decorate their office. Our CEOs regularly make more than 100 times their regular employees. Both these groups of people get major tax cuts, and yet somehow dismantling the very agencies who are designed to keep both these players in check is how we'll make money. Use your brains for half a second and realize the obvious path that cash flow will take. It won't be toward national debt or our cost of living. This is more than likely a power grab meant to deregulate obstacles in the way of what these two boneheads think progress is. And apparently, it's not just me who thinks so.
Outcry over Elon Musk is increasing, and it is not just coming from his perhaps traditional critics or the Democratic opposition. There are concerns by people who are in the Trump administration and have certain agenda ideas, and others who just think the federal government has to be run with a certain amount of transparency and accuracy over the long run, that see what Elon Musk is doing, and you've probably seen some of these reports over the week, as very concerning.
Tonight, 2 weeks after returning to office pledging to take a wrecking ball to Washington, President Trump is pushing back against new attacks on his efforts and those of billionaire Elon Musk to reshape the federal government.
Also, there's a striking parallel to agencies we've let this billionaire go after and agencies investigating his companies for being generally awful and unsafe. Greg, show us the image. This infographic is by Malika Kurana, but I stole it from a post by Robert Reich, who is worth subscribing to in order to get more frequent and well-researched content, so I'll link their channel down below. That's all, folks. And, by the way, there is an amount of legal resources going into blocking Musk's actions, but anyone who's ever dealt with the law before, even so much as a speeding ticket, should immediately recognize that Musk and his secret police are capable of moving much faster than the law. Ponder that one. Until next week. Like, subscribe, and toodaloo.